Good afternoon, one and all, and welcome into Clothier Field on the campus of Swarthmore College here in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, and here on the Centennial Conference Network for the final day of the regular season here in the Centennial Conference as the Garnet play host to the Haverford Fords. Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew Harvey on the call for you today. Delighted and thrilled, as always, to be joined in the booth by my father and Garnet member of the class of 78, Jim Harvey, who played and started for all 4 years, including on the team that played in the 1974 championship game. And Jim, our top story is that it is about as resplendent an afternoon as you could ask for college soccer here in Pennsylvania.
Well, as you know, we live in Seattle, but I definitely miss these crisp, clear, beautiful fall days with the leaves changing and not a lot of wind, beautiful sunny day, perfect day for a last game of the season, which has some pretty important implications for both teams.
Yeah, playoff implications reign heavy, but first let's run through the starting 11 for both teams. Up first for the Haverford Fords, as named by head coach Jamie Schneck. In goals, Claire Civis. The outfield, Meg Bowen, Alyssa Sato, Kendall Ozarowski, Lauren Anderson, Celia Page, Calais Irwin, Kira Prince, Liv McMillan, Sarah Klink, and Ella Manning. For the Garnet, in goals, Nora Greer. The outfield, Kim Kokenmeister, Alice Onyongo-Opio, Amelia Mounts, Megan Ruoff, Macy Mangini, Anwin Urquhart, Abby Chang, Emmy Hansard, Eloise Franz, and Senna Meath. Well, coming into the afternoon, Swarthmore have put together a very good 12-3-1 record overall. They're 6-2-1 in conference play. That's good for second right now. And a win today, Jim, guarantees them the second overall seed, but more importantly, that first-round bye in the playoffs. If they drop points today and McDaniel beats Ursinus, that match scheduled to kick off at the same time as this, then there's a chance they'll miss out on that first-round bye and go in as the 3 or 4 seed, depending on other results. Haverford, meanwhile, sits at 6-4-5 overall. They're 2-3-4 in conference play, currently in 7th place. They must win today, and then it'll depend on results between the Muhlenberg-Gettysburg match tonight at 7 p.m. if they are going to try to make the postseason.
Yeah, and you know the implication is not just that first round bye, but it also means that Swarthmore gets to host the semi, and that's important because home field advantage is a very important component for a successful run in the postseason.
Your referee today is Aaron Hart. Garnet in white with garnet trim. We'll move from right to left on your screen here in the first half. The Fords in black with red going back the other way here at this beautiful new Clothier Field playing surface. Jim, the facilities absolutely at this level when you were here back in the 70s?
Not quite. We played on the outfield above this field. This was the football field, and so we played up there. And of course, this time of year the field was all chewed up. This is just a spectacular facility, and it'll be a great game to watch this afternoon.
Kokenmeister over the ball in center circle, set to get us underway. And away we go. A quick note for those watching our live stream as there's an early free kick for the Garnet. We will not have the clock running as part of our score bug for right at the start here, so we will give you frequent time updates as we're off and running. Mangini working up the middle there. Tried to find Mounts. Ball gone into touch off the far side. Senna Meath couldn't hold it in. Well, Jim, we had a chance to talk to Garnet head coach Todd Ankaitis ahead of today's match, and obviously he's pretty happy overall with how the season's gone. You know, just the 3 losses, and of those 3, 2 of them, one to Johns Hopkins, top team in the conference, and the other to the reigning national champs here at the D3 level. Just a matter of trying to get everything to gel at this late phase, make a good showing in the conference tournament, and then hopefully in the NCAA postseason as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very successful program that Todd has put together. It's really heartening to see because, this year they're, in fact, this afternoon or this evening, they're celebrating the 40th year of women's soccer here at Swarthmore. And Todd has done such a great job.
Chang slicing in here, looking for Kokenmeister. She's loose and cannot turn her shot on goal.
Yeah, but that was a nice job on Kokenmeister's part just to even get a foot on that ball. It's too bad she couldn't get her knee over it and direct it to a spot where the goalkeeper was forced to make a save. But still, an excellent job. But yeah, no, it's been a very tight conference tournament or conference season for the Garnet. They did lose 4-0 to Johns Hopkins. It is interesting to note that Johns Hopkins, in addition to being a world-class research university, also is a university, which means that they get graduate transfers, and I think the number is 7 D1 graduate transfers on that Johns Hopkins team, many of whom played in the Ivy League prior to coming and doing their graduate work at Johns Hopkins.
This is Celia Page. Gone out the far side. McMillan. There for Anderson, the left back.
Yeah, Celia Page is obviously the main scoring force for the Fords. The senior from Wynwood, Pennsylvania, has 5 goals and 2 assists so far this year, and she is a force in the midfield for the Fords.
Anderson tries that ball over. Work near side. Here's Page. Ball rolls over the touchline. Really a multi-use facility here, Jim. I'm sure the players are accustomed to it, but for you and me, there's a couple extra lines out there. Field gets used for men's and women's lacrosse and field hockey as well, so you got to know which touch lines are your set. Bit of a trip there. Nothing in it, says our referee, and on we go. Meg Bowen working up the middle. Alyssa Sato come out wide to Page. Tries a ball on the ground, cut out by Onyango Opio.
Yeah, that was a nice idea by Page. She put a nice weighted pass right to a player, but the defender for Swarthmore did a great job by stepping in front and not allowing her access to the ball.
Onyango Opio was trying the diagonal ball to Spring Chang up the left side. Here's Page. Slips that through. Flag stays down. Greer off her line. She won't get there in time. Haverford leads early.
And a great pass by Page there. I mean, threaded it, and the central defender for the Garnet just wasn't on the same page, did not track her mark, and it was an easy one-on-one goal against the goalkeeper. And now Swarthmore finds themselves down, and it's not a spot that they haven't been familiar with so far this year. They have gone down in a number of matches and come back. We'll see if they can do the same this afternoon.
Well, we believe that was Liv McMillan who sliced in and just neatly bisected the Swarthmore back line to make it 1-0 there. So 4.5 minutes gone, and the visitors on top.
Well, as we know from just basic statistics for soccer, that often goals are scored within 5 minutes of each other and within 5 minutes of the end of each half, as well as the beginning. So we'll see if the Garnet's urgency puts extra pressure to get the equalizer, right quick.
And the saying always goes, Jim, that every match is in want of an early goal. Big booming service here, looking toward the head of Chang. She gets a touch to it, a second along the line. And that is scooped up by Civez. Civez, far and away the main goalkeeper for the Fords, her 15th appearance now, allows less than a goal a game, saves 75% of everything sent her way. She's got 6 individual clean sheets on the year, and she's split a 7th.
Well, so far it looks like the Garnet is just a little bit disjointed. We're not really seeing an organized attack or building it up out of the back. It's been a little bit ping-pong-like.
Switch here to Urquhart, drifting internally. Here's Ruoff. Up the middle goes Mounts. Mounts lets fly. It's a low shot.
Yeah, she didn't get very much on that. I'm sure she's a little disappointed by that effort. But Megan Ruoff from Portland, Oregon, obviously is a major distributor playing that center mid role for the Garnet, and did a nice job to pick out her teammate there with an obvious lane to go to goal.
Come out wide for McMillan, the goal scorer. Knocked away from Page. Back to Klink. McMillan once more. She can't find Kira Prince. Mounts trying to pelt that into space. And Anderson returns the favor.
Yeah, that was really nice pressure by Edmund Urquhart there to cause a bad pass and regain possession for the Garnet.
Thrown in far side for Urquhart. Off the head of Anderson. Ruoff trying to float it over the top to Kokenmeister. Kokenmeister very much the player to watch for the Garnet. 7 goals, 1 assist, and Mounts called for a foul there going in for the ball.
Yeah, but I like the physicality of that challenge. I think it's important, to establish that, you're here to compete. And obviously Page is a very gifted player for the forwards, responsible for that assist. Sort of a hopeful pass, not going to anybody in particular, by Macy Mangini.
Well, McMillan now extends her team best. That's her 5th goal on the season. Ties her with Celia Page, who also has 5 goals. McMillan also with 4 assists to Page's now 3 after setting up that 5th minute go-ahead goal in the early minutes of this contest. Jim, for keeper Nora Greer for the Garnet, I mean, it was her first involvement of the game, really. The ball comes back, and she's got to rush out of net. What comes back to trying to keep your head screwed on straight in a big-time rivalry match, trying to lock up the number 2 seed?
Well, I think, it's very hard when you're faced with a one-on-one and, 4 minutes into the match, and nobody expects you to make that save. It's very tough to do. She didn't quite get, down on it, and so she might be giving herself a little bit of a hard time there, but really the most important thing as a goalie is to realize that the play is over and you've got to focus on the next play.
Kokenmeister looking back to Ruoff.
Nice pass again by Ruoff, finding the open player. Mangini taking too long to get that ball off her feet.
Mangini looking for the diagonal ball. Can't beat Bowen. And that did strike the player in the arm, but Jim, the new advisory is if it's too close for them to react, it's generally not given. Now here come the forwards. Prince spills that chance.
Throw in way in the corner there for the Garnet.
Looking down line for Chang.
Yeah, it's a very tough ball to play because there's almost no room for error given the angle. But still, you'd rather see that than have it go across the middle of the field and then give up a pass interception in a spot where somebody can go to goal.
Ruoff. Mounts thought she was working the 1-2, but the run wasn't there. So here's Alyssa Sato. Down line for Page. Page steps topside, sends to the back post. And I think the Garnet breathing a sigh of relief there wasn't a runner there.
Yeah, very impressed with Paige's understanding of angles and the quality and weight of her passes. I mean, we've noticed that already. There was one pass before the one that she actually got the assist on that was also quite good. So she's a player to watch. I know that Coach Ankaitis was talking about the defensive prowess of their left back, Emmy Hansard, number 20, and she's got her hands full this afternoon. I mean, Paige is a midfielder, so it's not like she's deliberately going to match up to her, but with given Paige's athleticism and speed, she'll end up in situations where she's going to have to come head-to-head with her.
Our card in for Ruoff. Mangini coming far side for Chang. We'll have our first sub of the match. On comes Ali Zitelli, the sophomore from Ramsey, New Jersey, coming in for Megan Ruoff.
Yeah, Zitelli so far this year, 3 goals and 1 assist, so obviously she is capable of cracking one from distance as well as making some distributions.
Paige looking for McMillan. Onyango Apio loses her footing. McMillan calls for the ball ahead. Edge of the area, great recovery from the center back, and an even better play to deal it into touch out the far side.
Yeah, and she, you might ask, well, why did she even bother? She could have just let it go over the line, but she was far enough off the line where you just didn't want to give up the opportunity of McMillan to get to it and get it across. So that was a smart play on her part.
Put out the far side by Klink.
You were talking about the line. Well, there's a perfect example. The Ford player was actually on the field making the throw in, and the referee said, you might want to back up a little bit.
Dropping towards the head of Paige. This will come loose, top of the area, back inside and cleared away. And to your point, Jim, I think the delayed whistle, I think it took our referee a moment to realize that wasn't the touch line either. Anderson. Worked up the far side. McMillan. That ball stayed in. Loose inside the area. Knocked away by Hansard. This finds Chang. No numbers, but they'll send it into space for Kokenmeister. Kokenmeister. Waiting for support. Cutting to the inside. Shot on her right foot's deflected. Bouncing loose, hard tackle just inside the penalty area. Chang gets a hand to it. Kokenmeister came back from an offside position to play the ball. 15th minute of play. And it is Urquhart who got tattooed there. Jim, I mean, uncommon to see a penalty given for a collision like that when they're both going for the ball in the air.
Yeah, it's in general, you don't really want to have any kind of a questionable penalty call, and certainly in a game of this magnitude at the end of the season, you don't want to have a bad call determine the outcome. So.
And Urquhart, as soon as she's back up, is down again, fouled there by Anderson.
Yeah, and I think this may be the kind of thing where because she was down, it might have been a head injury. And this is something that I really admire, the rules changes, the training not only for coaches and players but also referees. If there's any question, you stop the game, as well you should. And this looks not like a head injury, which is good, but she doesn't look like she's moving quite as well as she would like.
Well, Urquhart coming off under her own power, which is what you always want to see. Calais Irwin also looks like she's being shepherded off. And again, the referee does have the discretion at the NCAA level to basically force a player off the field and give the trainers a chance to look at them. Jim, I'm sure you never tried to keep playing through something that maybe you should have gone and gotten looked at.
Yeah. Not really. Well, and that's part of the reason why they have instituted these protocols, because players want to play. And, there are times where I think back, well, maybe I shouldn't have stayed on the pitch.
Anderson over the free kick, and play resumes. Just about 15 minutes gone. Onyango Opio going to shepherd that to the goal line and lets it run out for a goal kick.
We'd have to say in these first 15 minutes that Haverford's been the more dangerous team. They've had a couple of beautifully created plays in the final third, one which resulted in a goal, another which almost resulted in a goal. So, clearly I'm sure if this is the way the rest of the half goes, that Coach Ankaitis will be talking
McMillan
about.
pounces on the loose ball, back inside, looking for Prince. Cleared up into the middle. And Hansard pushed off the ball, and that will draw the free kick. Referee was waiting to see if an advantage developed.
Yeah, there wasn't much subtle in Paige's foul there. She just pretty much put both hands into Hansard's back and pushed her. So
downfield by Eloise Franz, a player from Barcelona, Spain. One back by Ella Manning in the midfield. And Greer off her line to collect the loose ball.
Yeah, so far with Greer, what I'm noticing is that she's a little hesitant to come off of her line. And, with the kind of through balls that the forwards are playing through, it is important to step forward and any kind of a pass that isn't perfect, she needs to come out and basically snuff.
Prince to the byline. That'll stay in. Klink has it. Trying to work the corner flag. The double team wins it away. Chang looking to dribble free, well tackled away by Page. Ball into the head of Prince. Klink. Page shovels one over the top, and it scoots underneath the foot of Senna Meath. Sato.
Nice double team on the part of the Garnet there, but they didn't quite capture the ball.
A long-range shot into the hands of Greer there. Well, the Garnet having a tough time working out of their own end, Jim.
Yeah, and we were talking to Coach Ankaitis about his formation, and it was sort of an interesting, 3-2-4-1 concept. But so far, you have to say that the midfield has not been very effective. It's not been the kind of start to the game I'm sure that the Garnet coaching staff is looking for.
And certainly think about the changes already for Urquhart and Ruoff, two of the players in the center of the field. Although Todd Ankaitis has been clear he trusts every player on his roster and won't hesitate to play any of them as the situation demands.
Yeah, that definitely was the theme that I got of our conversation with the coach, that they come with a certain game plan, but they adjust. And so clearly they're going to have to make some adjustments based on at least the first 20 minutes of this match this afternoon.
Mounts tried to flip that back to Nikte Machado-Ako, who's checked in. Here's Meath. Machado Acco. Looking to turn Sophie Miranda out there on the left side.
Yeah, so far, Swarthmore's a little slow to the ball. I mean, you can kind of see there's a lot of ball watching going on, not a lot of movement toward the ball. Makes it harder for the team to retain possession in that case because Haverford is doing a good job of beating Swarthmore to the ball.
Mounts stood up there by Klink. McMillan laid off for Prince. Mangini on the turnover. Into space looking for McMillan. Franz back to her keeper.
And Greer does what she should do. Put it out of play, let her team regroup, and get set up defensively.
21st minute, 1-0 in favor of Haverford. They went up in the 5th minute thanks to a ball played straight through the back line by Claire Page. Celia Page, forgive me. That was finished off by Liv McMillan. Kokenmeister. Machado Acco. Meath looking for the return to Kokenmeister. She got a touch there. Is upended. That will draw a free kick.
Yeah, one thing I'm not seeing from the Garnet so far is a lot of cross-field movement. We're not seeing the ball switching from one side of the pitch to the other. And that's really important in terms of stretching the forward defense width-wise, because if you're only going up one side, then it makes it much easier to cover defensively because they don't have to worry about the opposite side. But that's where goals are scored, being able to put that ball across the pitch to the far post.
Onyango Apio over this free kick. Low ball dealt toward the front post, headed away by Lauren Anderson. McMillan pelts it back toward the touchline. That'll be a Swarthmore throw. Garnet trying to keep the pressure on. They go into Chang. Mounts back into the corner. Miranda to Sato. McMillan. Header doesn't come off for the onrushing Manning. And Greer kind of forced off her line by her center back there to pick up that ball. Free kick given back at midfield.
I think one thing that I've noticed, at least with Greer's first two distributions out of the back, is they're going straight to the middle of the pitch. In general, you don't want that because that's where all the players are standing. So in general, you'd like to put it off to one sideline flag or the other where there are fewer players.
Onyango Apio, Kokenmeister, the flick-on header. And
nice
collected
idea.
by Cives.
Nice idea there by Kokenmeister.
Mounts into space for Meath. Manning. Or forgive me, Klink. Prince tying up with Onyango Apio. It's a fair challenge, says the referee. Mangini finds Chang. Chang cuts inside, has Page closing her down, and it's cut away from the front. Well, Well, that time the Fords, Jim, rushing just a little bit, had the opportunity and wound up outkicking their coverage.
Yeah.
Diagonal ball looking for Kokenmeister.
A nice job by the Ford defender to kind of shoulder Kokenmeister off the ball there, and it's it's a subtle thing. Some less sophisticated fans may say, "Oh my gosh, that's a foul," but no, that's a fair challenge, and it also sends a message to Kokenmeister that she's going to have to fight for whatever position that she's hoping to get.
Hansard unable to turn Bowen there. McMillan working against Franz. Well recovered by the Spanish defender. Here's Mounts trying to split the lines. Chang, who's drifted to the inside. Machado Ako.
Yeah, she did a nice job to come back to that ball. That's why she still had possession, which is what you want to see. So that's a nice uptick for the Garnet right there.
Well, Greer not hesitating to come off her line this time. Meets it at the edge of the defensive third.
And I like her distribution in that case. She switched the point of attack to an open player, gave her plenty of room to field the ball.
Looking to go through here for Kokenmeister. Anderson has the inside line. They go shoulder to shoulder. Kokenmeister pulls it past her. Kokenmeister loose inside the 6, and the shot came off Civis, who kept it in play. The assistant referee was looking at it. And a pair of Fords lacing up their boots after Kokenmeister juked them right out of them.
Yeah, Kokenmeister did a beautiful job there. I mean, it didn't look like she was even going to make it to the ball before it went over the touch line or the end line.
Here's Chang. Gone through for Kokenmeister. Flag stays down. Cut back cross. And no space for it.
Yeah, I'm sure Kokenmeister would like to have gotten a little bit more on that or even drew it back to her teammate that was at the 6. But still, you're starting to see what I'm sure Coach Ankaitis is hoping to see, which is more pressure in the offensive third with some goal-scoring opportunities to boot.
Here's Klink. Ranging out of the defensive midfield. Wide to Prince. And Meath chops it out for a corner. First of the match, Jim. Well, and a whole host of changes. 4 of them, in fact, for the Fords. Danny Kaufman-Sedano coming on for the Garnet. And the Haverford changes, well, we'll work to track those down for you. That's what you call an old-fashioned line change, Jim.
There you go. And it is an interesting thing about collegiate soccer that you can do that.
In-swinging corner here. Onyango Apio deals it away.
Yeah, very nice clearing header there by Onyango Apio.
Page over on the far side. Right back down the line. Cuts it back toward Klink. Her shot was blocked as it came off her foot.
Coming into the Garnet, number 12, Danny Kaufman-Sedano. Coming into the Fords, number 7, Olivia Delario. Number 5, Abigail Baker. Number 18, Sadie Kim. And number 25, Grace Haskell.
Well, we have the changes now for the Fords. It's Baker, Delario, Kim, and Haskell all on there in the 27th minute. And the referee shepherding the Haverford bench back into their technical area. They were creeping a little bit too close to midfield. You know, not surprising to see full benches for both these teams. The schools are so close to one another. Ball over the top for Kokenmeister.
Yeah, and you would like to see the Swarthmore offside midfield making that run, expecting the pass, rather than waiting for the pass and then making the run. And we're seeing that a little bit. I'm sure that'll be something that the coach will talk about.
Worked here towards Mounts, toward the goal line, and Mounts left a foot in. That'll be a free kick. Well, we played a half hour, 1-0 in favor of Haverford. Jim, your thoughts on this opening 30?
Well, I think you have to say that the Fords came out strong and got that one goal. Soccer is a weird sport that way. You know, you get one goal and it changes the entire complexion of the match. But you have to say the last few minutes, particularly the last 10 minutes, Swarthmore has really started to retain possession of the ball and do more dangerous things offensively.
Good ball there to Page. She wants to go quickly onto the inside. Hoping to link up, I believe, with Miranda there, who's up along the front line. Pardon me, that is Delario who's come in. Another change for the Garnet. Here comes Callie Stoltz, the first year from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. And it is a change along the back line. Senna Meath going to come out. And Meath looks to be moving a little bit gingerly. Kokenmeister collects. Helps that ball on its way. Put into touch by Kendall Ozarowski. Another change for the Garnet. Here comes Jacinta Fernandez-Bruff, the junior from Gillingham, England. She comes on for Amelia Mounts. And we'll see if Fernandez-Bruff can bring a little more spark to this midfield. Connections have been better for Swarthmore these last 10 minutes.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think Mounts has had a nice first 30 minutes of the match. But unfortunately, they just haven't been able to dominate the midfield the way in which they would like. Now we have the first corner for the Garnet. And they have scored a lot of goals on corner kicks this year. So this is something that obviously they're looking to repeat.
Here's the outswinger. It's a high ball back past the penalty spot. Kokenmeister can't get there. Heroic defending from Anderson. Floated back over the top. Is Kokenmeister onside? She is. Looking to settle. Kokenmeister edged away from her. Machado Acco is onside. Low service, and Anderson for the second time in one series coming up big for the Fords in their own 18.
We can definitely tell the intensity is picked up for the Garnet, and the Fords are defending furiously to try to keep them away from a good scoring opportunity.
Great turnout here at Clothier Field. It is Garnet weekend, of course, here at Swarthmore. Parents in town, former alumni. Jim, you and I were at the Hall of Fame dinner last night, which you're a member of as part of that 1974 men's soccer team. And just a really great chance to celebrate what athletics has brought to the Swarthmore community over the years.
Yeah, no question about it. And some of my friends on the 1977 tennis team being inducted, and they were just an amazing team. But it is important at a both of these institutions, Haverford and Swarthmore, which are so excellent academically, to have that outlet, to have that athletic, change of pace.
Here's Delario. Going inside toward Haskell, trying to get free for the shot. Page unable to get around Hansard. A ball floated to the back post and gone over. Well, like you mentioned, Jim, it's the 40th anniversary of the establishment of the Swarthmore women's soccer team and the 50th anniversary of Title IX, so always it's always the right time to celebrate women's collegiate athletics, Jim, but it's a particularly big weekend here on campus.
Well, and a lot of people, in fact, I was telling the coaches this, and they were a little surprised to hear this, but the year after we went into the national final, we had two women players, one from Zaire and one from Pennsylvania, who wanted to play soccer, and there was no women's soccer team, so they played on the JV, and we had a couple of matches in which the opposing team refused to play because we had women on our team. So Swarthmore has always been a leader in this kind of a thing, and it's just fabulous for me to come out here and see, such a competitive program doing so well.
Thrown in there toward Delario. Onyango Pio gets a foot to it, as does Zitelli. Or Mangini, rather. Haskell gives chase in the left alley. Delario looking back. That'll bounce into Greer. Kind of an awkward ball to deal with as a keeper, Jim.
Well, it was hard. She wasn't sure whether to come out and catch it with her hands above her waist or get down and field it as a low ball. But she managed to handle it just fine.
37th minute. Swarthmore scoreless so far. If they make it to halftime without notching a goal, that'll be rare for them this season. Only 8 of the 32 halves of soccer have they played and have they been shut out.
That's absolutely true. And they've only been shut out one game entirely, so this is unusual for them not to have something up on the scoreboard.
Hard contest, but a fair one in the air.
Nice job there to win the ball back there by Brough.
Zitelli behind Kaufman Sedano. She's going at Bowen. Kaufman Sedano looking free for the cross. Sivas grabs the bouncing ball before Kokenmeister can pounce.
Yeah, Kaufman Sedano not able to clear her right hip enough to get the ball from going straight to the keeper, but you have to like that instinct to put that ball across. And there was a Swarthmore attacker there ready to take it if the ball had come back to them.
Hard challenge there, gets it up to Kokenmeister. Sivas off her line to collect. Here's Delario. Mangini fighting her for it and pulls away with the ball. Machado Acco has Zitelli to her left. Looking to play through for Kokenmeister. That ball's loose. Kokenmeister's shot and held in. Well done by Sivas. She pinned that to the goal line, didn't let it go out. Held in by Kaufman Sedano. Hansard attempting the underlapping run. Sato. Looking for Alana Ponte, who's come in here.
This is the kind of battling that you want to see in your midfielder. Their job is basically to battle for the ball and win the ball.
Here's Delario. Franz going to ground, and it's a corner.
Yeah, it was a nice job by Franz to not give her an opportunity to get that ball across, because there were a couple of forward attackers at the far post, one at the 6 and one at the top of the box.
Meg Bowen, the fullback, will take this outswinging corner. Low ball driven toward the near post. Headed down by Franz. Kaufman Sedano will knock it into touch further up the line. Klink. Back to Haskell. Bowen. Looking centrally. Fernandez Bruff. Well won by Bowen. And
Handball.
she played that with her hand as it was coming out of the air, Jim.
Yeah, no, that one, the arm was what is considered an unnatural position, and that still is a handball.
Kaufman Sedano trying to link back up. Really well defended by Bowen.
Yeah, it was a nice 1-2 play right there in the midfield to get around there. Unfortunately, just not quite going to the foot of the attacker so that she could get a shot off.
Hope Neal and Rebecca Putnam checking in now. Kokenmeister going to come off, along with Zitelli.
Yeah, Rebecca Putnam coming from Mount Kisco, New York, and Horace Greeley High School, who we used to play in high school. So it's nice to see Westchester County being well represented.
Fernandez Bruff looking through. Cannot find Kaufman Sedano.
But again, Fernandez Bruff has really distinguished herself in terms of the quality of her passes so far. She's obviously a very gifted offensive player.
Kaufman Sedano blocks that clearance with her face. It comes back to the keeper. They're always encouraging Swarthmore students to use their head, Jim, but I don't know if that's necessarily what they had in mind.
Yeah, your face as rebound is probably not high on the list. I know as a goalkeeper I had plenty of opportunities to experience that one firsthand.
Long ball here. Anderson puts it back out. This Haverford back line, Jim, very dependable so far today. Bowen and Anderson in particular standing out. Haskell has Sato showing near side. And that ball knocked out for a Swarthmore throw. Kim, Haskell. Haskell showing herself to be a player, Jim, who thinks very quickly. He's looking to snap that shot off. Just hasn't quite gotten her hips square on it just yet.
Right, but I mean, that shot had amplitude. I mean, it really exploded off her foot. So that's something that Greer's going to have to keep an eye on, because, any kind of a strike at the right angle can go in. So. Nice job by Emmy Hansard there to basically take the pressure off the ball there, playing it back to her keeper.
Delario looking for Ponte, who's kind of trundled over there by Hansard as they were both fighting for the ball, and the referee didn't see enough in it. It's one of those things, Jim, where, right, you always do want to say a foul's a foul. Doesn't matter if it's inside the area or if it's out, but there's a little more leeway given if it is inside the 18.
There is no question about that, as you know. Again, referees don't want to have a soft call determine a game. And that would have been a soft call.
45th minute of play here. Haverford pressing for a goal late in this this first half, and they win a corner. They have 30 seconds, so they can't dawdle, but they will be able to get it away. Ball quickly put in play to Bowen. Bowen trying to slice that inside, knocked down by Mangini, and cleared off Klink. Back to Ponte. Ponte into the middle, and Kim got ahead to it. Couldn't direct it on frame. So high pressure to start the half, high pressure to end the half, and that's enough to help the Haverford Forwards take a one-goal lead into the break. 1-0 after 45 minutes here at Clothier Field. Jim, your thoughts on the first half?
Well, I think this is a perfect example of a rivalry match that you would expect. I mean, it doesn't matter what the records are. When you're playing your arch rival, anything can happen. A goal 4 minutes in definitely changed the complexion of the game. You have to say this was an evenly matched half. There were periods of time in the second half of the first half there where Swarthmore was putting some pressure on, but unable to really get any kind of a dangerous shot opportunity. And you have to say that the Fords have had the more dangerous opportunities to date.
Well, the Fords lead 1-0 through 45 minutes of play here at Clothier Field and on the Centennial Conference Network. We'll step aside and return for the second half. Welcome back into Clothier Field here in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, and on the Centennial Conference Network, set for the start of the second half between the Swarthmore Garnet and the Haverford Fords, who lead 1-0 on a fifth-minute goal from Liv McMillan here over the host Swarthmore, who need 3 points to guarantee themselves that second overall seed in a first-round bye in the playoffs. Haverford need a win to keep their playoff hopes alive, so all to play for in the second half. Of course, as it stands right now, scoreline from McDaniel Ursinus 0-0 through 45 minutes of play. If McDaniel fails to take 3 points, even with a loss here, Swarthmore would still wind up as the number 2 seed. Jim, overall in the first 45, really strong first 25 minutes out of Haverford. They put a lot of pressure on at the start. They put a lot of pressure on right at the end there, and Swarthmore kind of struggled to get things going through the middle of the park. What has to change for either team, or both teams, I should say, in order to be more successful over these final 45 minutes of play?
Well, first of all, I think the first thing is that the players at Swarthmore have to move to the ball. They have to there are too many passes that are sort of hopeful passes toward someone, but the player who's receiving is just not accelerating to the point to win the ball. And Haverford is outplaying them that way. So that's the first thing that needs to change. I think the second thing that needs to change, depending, and as we get closer to the end of the match, if it's still 1-0, coach is going to have to probably change the formation and push another player or two forward to try to create even more pressure on the goal. You do get the sense that if Swarthmore got a good shot on goal, they might be able to tuck it away. So far, the shots that they've had are very off-angle ones where the Civis has been able to contain them very easily. So you think any kind of a hard shot, you might create either a direct goal or a rebound opportunity for someone to tuck it in.
Teams are set. Our referee, Aaron Hart, is set. The whistle goes, and Kira Prince gets us back underway here at Clothier Field. Once again, for those of you just joining us, Swarthmore Garnet in white with garnet, going from left to right on your screen. Haverford in black, going back the other way. Tackle there from Sarah Klink. Alice Onyongo Apio. Back to Nora Greer. Greer dealing out of pressure in her own end.
Yeah, it was a nice weighted pass from Greer to her left midfielder.
Zitelli, here's Chang. Abby Chang looking through for Kokenmeister. Just a little too much. Chang has her face in her hands there.
Yeah, but that's the kind of pressure that Swarthmore needs to put in order to create the goal-scoring opportunity for the equalizer. Sort of a late flag there by the linesman. It seemed like it was pretty obviously over the line, but somehow it took him a minute to raise his flag.
Hansard. Back to Franz. Helped on its way by Zitelli, who's back out to start the second half. Nikte Machado Ako.
And she had a nice first half. She definitely made a difference when she came in 15 or 20 minutes into the match, and she's still out there doing a good job. I think the other thing you asked, what needs to change, I think the Swarthmore needs to switch the point of attack through midfield. We're not seeing hardly any of that. And in general, that's a much easier way to create a goal-scoring opportunity on the far side of the field.
Zitelli pulls the ball away. They try to go up to Kokenmeister. Anderson deals it into touch. Well, Kokenmeister has very much been a player on an island through the 48 minutes and change of this match. Dripping ball here inside toward Chang. She can't get on the end of it.
But Chang made a good run, and Nicte Machado Ako did a beautiful job of putting that ball into a dangerous spot. So you have to say that you like Swarthmore's first couple of minutes here in the second half if you're a fan of the Garnet.
Klink looking to split the lines there. Greer well off her line. Has that pelted off her center back. Clock going to stop here, as I think that clearance from Greer caught Prince just right in the noggin. She's already back on her feet, but the referee had initially waved for the trainer, and I think he's insisting that someone from the medical staff comes out to check on Kira Prince, because Greer really put her foot through that ball, Jim.
Well, and I think again there's an example of the concussion protocol being not optional, and it's exactly the right kind of thing. I mean, obviously she was hurt enough to go down and grab her head. That's enough of an indication to a referee to make that call and say, go into the sidelines, talk to the trainer, make sure you're okay.
I'll see the return of Olivia Delario, who had a really strong showing in her own right since coming on late in that first half. We restart with a drop ball, and once again, thankfully, you're just glad to see Prince coming off under her own power. And when Urquhart, who came off under similar circumstances in the first half, has not returned. Kokenmeister tracking this ball into the right alley. Anderson is there, and Anderson tips it out of play.
Yeah, that was a really lovely ball there by Sophia Vesley of Swarthmore, a penetrating, lofted pass into the corner. And you know what's great about that kind of a ball is it eats up real estate, and you get your team in a position on the field where they're already in the offensive third.
Here's Chang cutting to her right. Lost her footing just as the ball was going the way. We have another Garnet player who's down behind the run of play. Play going to continue here. Trying to work it in is Vesley. Chang. Shot comes off the back of Kokenmeister, and now we're going to stop play once more. Not sure who it is that's down for Swarthmore. I think it may be Ali Zatelli. But I think she went down kind of on a collision with her own teammate because she wasn't on the ball and there wasn't a tackle, Jim. And pardon me, it's Amelia Mounts.
Yeah, hard to say.
Todd Ankaitis having a word with the referee. He was explaining what he saw.
I have to say the referee has been doing a very nice job this afternoon. I mean, when we don't talk about them, that tells you that they're doing a good job. I mean, he's very clear when he thinks that a challenge doesn't rise to the level of foul. He puts his hands out like, nope. And that kind of communication is critical for a good referee because it sets the tone for not only the fans but more importantly the coaches and the players on both sides to realize that, yeah, he saw it and no. So.
Yeah, a lot of nodding from both coaches, which is generally what you want to see if you're a referee. Kira Prince looks set to return for the Fords. Jacinta Fernandez-Bruff looks to be set to come on for Amelia Mounts. Clock stopped here about midway through the 50th minute.
Yeah, Jacinta Fernandez-Bruff really also had a very positive impact on the Garnet attack in the last 15 minutes of the first half. So I'm not surprised to see her back in there. She combines well. Her field vision is quite good, and it looks like she can thread some very dangerous passes through if given the opportunity.
So Prince will be allowed on, as will Fernandez-Bruff, who comes on from Mounts. Delario back to the touchline. And the referee even trying to check in with the scorer's table up here to make sure everyone got it. Pretty much only see that out of baseball umpires waving their arms. Hey, pay attention. We're going to restart with a drop ball to Civis. And off we go.
Coming in for the Garnet, number 7, Bashika Fernandez Brown. Coming in for Haverford, number 24, Kira Chris.
Bowen. Ball reaches Prince. McMillan, the goal scorer. Well won there by Manning. Machado Acco holds that in play quite nicely.
A nice back pass on her part. She knew she couldn't turn the ball.
McMillan gets that away and is cleared out after the fact. Well, Vesley not offering any excuses. No, she knew she got caught out there.
Yeah.
Dangerous spot for a free kick, Jim.
Yeah, we have the challenge of this spot is that the goalkeeper really can be very it can be very difficult for them to make a decision about coming out on a ball that's between the 6 and the 12. It also means that all of your defenders are going to be defending the goal, facing the goal, which is hard. So a curled ball in, curving from, say, the top of the box or to the 12 or the 6, very tough to defend.
Well, Delario back on for Prince, who seems to have taken the worst of that challenge from Vesley. Alyssa Sato over this free kick. Greer set up, shaded far post. Sato floats this into the area. Greer comes for it, doesn't get it. Brown can't clear it. Vesley turns, blocked by Sato. McMillan over the top. Greer coming off her line and grabs it off the bounce.
Yeah, good aggressive play by Greer to come off her line. Had she not done so, Page was all over the opportunity to tuck another one in. So good play by the Garnet keeper.
Page, a player who's kind of lurking, waiting for her opportunity. Here comes Anderson taking on 3 or 4 defenders. Breaking through, slips that forward. Delario is offside.
Yeah, good call by the linesman. Delario just a half a step offside. But a very dangerous run by the center back, Anderson, who's played very nicely this afternoon for the forwards.
Greer looking up towards Zitelli. One here by Klink. McMillan. Franz. Awkward clearance. Won't reach Fernandez-Bruff. Bowen off to Page. Trying to work it back to her. Chang sends a cross basically into her own area. But got enough that it cleared all the danger. There's that diagonal ball you've been calling for, Jim.
Yeah, and that's what you'd like to see, because what it does is it forces the forwards to shift their defense, and again, you open up passing lanes, you open up all kinds of counterattack opportunities. Nice job there by Oyongo Apoyo.
Ball up to Machado Ako. Anderson coming to close her down. Looking to win the corner, and did so.
Yeah, you do get the sense that the Garnet are going to need a set piece to really give themselves an opportunity to set up to score. So these corner kicks are very important. We do know that soccer, basically 60% of all goals are scored by set pieces, corner kicks being paramount among them.
Fernandez-Bruff checking out here. Mounts checks back on. And she'll go to take this corner, relieving Zitelli. Short run up for Mounts. It's a high chip ball that has immediately gone over the goal line.
Well, clearly not what they wanted. It's a shame. But I think it's very important for Swarthmore to get those through balls and try to get down to the end line to see if they can't create more corner kick opportunities.
Well won there by the Fords. Delario trying to work her way past Franz. Can't do it. Bowen and the Fords settle the second ball. Here's Sato. And a stand-up tackle from Oyongo Apio. That was inch perfect. Machado Ako calling for the ball into space, and here she goes. Anderson coming over. She'll get there first and is going to try to shepherd this ball out. Forced to keep it in. And Kokenmeister.
Yeah, you have to say Anderson is just playing a fabulous game in the back for the Fords. She's just, she took two players on and came out with a throw-in. Really well done.
Got 7 or 8 clears. And Vesely escaped a yellow card for the earlier challenge on Prince. Won't escape one there. She's booked here in the 56th minute.
Yeah, that wasn't subtle. And you saw after the first, difficult tackle she had at the other end of the pitch, the referee talked to her and basically warned her that next time the cards were going to come out. So, again, good refereeing.
Anderson reaches Sato. Well, the Garnet continue to be under duress in their own end. They've not had a moment's peace so far in this second half. Manning, space to the byline. Floated and sent away. Reaching Page in the far alley. Low ball coming in, and Greer collects.
Yeah, fielded easily by Greer. She moves very well back there. She's a very agile, quick goalkeeper, and that's what you like to see.
Long punt. This will reach Kokenmeister on the bounce. Heads back to Chang. Mounts. Carries through a couple challenges. Chang. Mounts. Vesely was calling for it. Machado Ako can't turn. Vesely finds Machado Ako. Left-footed shots blocked. Kokenmeister charges back, and it's cleared away.
That was a nice sequence. Almost a great passing combination to set up a shooting opportunity.
Chang looking for Kokenmeister, who might have been offside. Anderson plays it here. Machado Acco can't bring it down. And Calais Irwin, a chance to knock it free. Now a foot race between Delario and Onyango Apio. Here's Klink.
Yeah, nice recovery by Mounts there to get back and make Klink turn 360 and delay the attack for defensive cover.
A lot of trust from Greer and Onyango Apio to shelter off those defenders.
Well, Onyango Apio just had a beautiful run there where she shouldered off Delario, and that that's really, really important to be able to do that. The use of one's body without diving in and fouling is a real important characteristic of a solid defender.
Here's Chang, who has been pretty firmly locked up by Bowen. Chang gets loose for an instant on the top side and immediately closed down by Ozarowski.
Yeah, what we're not seeing by the Garnet is a combination play in the offensive third. I mean, Chang was sitting there trying to dribble by two players. Very tough to do. You'd rather see a combination 1-2, a wall pass, something where you can pass and move, and we're just not seeing that this afternoon.
Here comes Macy Mangini, who's been a big player through the middle of the park for Swarthmore so far in this contest, replacing Elizabeth Brown, I should say, the senior from Shaker Heights, Ohio. And Brown, one of the players that he really pointed to as a leader on this team, did head coach Todd Ankaitis. Some space here up the left side. Ozarowski gets a foot in on the challenge. Pokes that ball out right at the corner flag for a throw. Thrown in toward Mounts.
It's a beautiful ball by the Haverford defender out to the wing.
Here's Page, loose at the top of the area, and Greer needed to secure that. She had Sato right on her. Looks like we're lining up for some end-to-end action now. Bowen cuts out the counterattack.
You would have liked to have seen Emmy Hansard play that ball before it bounced.
We've played an hour. Haverford leads 1-0, 30 minutes to go. Big change that all these teams dealing with this year. No more overtime in college soccer.
Yeah, we did have some interesting conversations with Coach Ankaitis about that issue. And one of the things that he said was that you see tactical changes on the part of teams that are happy to either be up 1-0 and bunker or play for a tie because it means they don't lose points. So it is an interesting change. Now, obviously, if they make the tournament, then it's somebody has to win, and so the overtime rules come back.
Machado Acco, that ball gone out for a corner. It'll be Amelia Mounts to take the corner. She'll be looking to make up for her last service, which is a bit of a letdown. 63rd minute here, and a host of options inside the 6.
It's interesting, Swarthmore is lining up inside the 6 with no runners, which I think is very interesting. So they obviously are planning to serve it right in, as they did.
Ball bouncing near the goal line. Now it's gone over. Goal kick.
I don't mind that as a tactical concept, but I still think it's important to have at least 2 people at the top of the box in case there's a rebound out.
Here come Baker, Stein, and Kim returning for the Haverford forwards.
Number 18, Sadie Kim. Number 5, Abigail Baker. And number 14, Baker Stein.
Again, the Garnet are just not beating the Fords to the ball. Quite opposite. The opposite is true. And if the Garnet wants to equalize, they're going to have to really increase their pressure on the ball.
Ball over the top for Vesley. Brought down. Appeals for handball.
Yeah.
And it has been given.
Yeah, no question about it. Her hands were above her head. The ball hit it. This is actually a potentially dangerous service spot for the Fords to defend, because a good lofted long service comes in somewhere between the penalty spot and the 6. Very tough to defend again.
Onyongo Pio lining up over this free kick. High floated ball near post. And the set piece service just hasn't really been there for Swarthmore this afternoon.
Yeah, they're missing too many good opportunities. That one just went straight out of bounds, unfortunately. But it did have the right, amplitude and depth. It just, was the wrong direction, unfortunately. I'm sure she would love to have that one back.
Zitelli wins the header. Machado Acco came through the back of, pardon me, I was going to say Kim. That was Stein who picked up the foul. J.J. Stein billed at 5'4", and the roster maybe tacking on a little bit extra there. That might be the boot height, Jim.
Well, yeah. I actually kind of think that call was a little bit soft, given what we've seen.
McMillan has the inside angle. Chops that back in, was looking to link up with Kim. Now Chang trying to strike that into space. Anderson, who's been so excellent today, shepherds it back to Civis.
But a good idea by Chang, and then good hustle by Kokenmeister to try to track that one down. Again, Anderson doing a fabulous job for the Fords back there as the sort of anchor central defender.
She's drawn out here. Here's Chang. Kokenmeister gone out wide. Ball going to come her way. There's a lot on it. And Civis once again able to pick it up.
Yeah, that was a shame because that was a great opportunity there. Chang could have probably taken another touch or two. She had plenty of time there to put a better quality pass through.
McMillan back to goal. Wide for Kim. rousing rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game just sung down there in the grandstands. Jim, takes me back to the stories you used to tell me about the marching orchestra, I believe, that had here. Now the cellist taped the chair to himself and walked around.
Yeah, would walk around and then stop and play. We had kazoos. And it was their famous marching formation, the amoeba, which really was quite disturbing in its shape, but no, it was a lot of fun. That's one thing about Swarthmore. Plenty of good intellectual humor at play.
Well, at least it wasn't weird.
As far as you know.
Stein lining up for the throw in here, trying to work McMillan. Machado Acco drops back to Vesely. Zitelli cut down there, free kick. Kaufman Sedano waiting to check in. Onyango Apio. Sends this downfield in the 70th minute. Top of the area, rattles around. Machado Acco can't get a foot to it. Two Fords defenders wind up on the deck. And Anderson, who is slow to her feet, is going to be forced off here at the discretion of the referee. No foul. The two Fords defenders kind of lit each other up inside the penalty area trying to win that header. Kaufman Sedano will check in the interval for Vesely. And we'll see Clay Irwin come on for Anderson. We'll restart with the drop ball. It should be in the alley, and it will. Clock stopped in the 70th, and we're back underway. McMillan trying to deal out of her own end. Header from Zitelli. Kokenmeister looking to back up Ozorowski. Kaufman Sedano. Popped over the top by Mangini, and Machado Acco can't contain it.
Yeah, it was a good idea. Unfortunately, that ball bounced. You could see it had a lot of spin on it, and it sort of accelerated over the end line. But and the Fords know exactly how critical Anderson is because she's right back in the match. So
Haskell on for McMillan as well in the stoppage. Civis trying the near touchline over the head of Kokenmeister, who is starting to drop deeper and deeper defensively. She's just trying to work her way onto the ball. Here's Kim. The return for Haskell. She's got space in the left alley. Haskell. Left-footed cross. Tried the goal instead. And Greer had the post covered up.
Yeah, nice save there by Greer. But Haskell got a fair amount of power on that shot with her left foot.
Mounts looking over the top. Kaufman Sedano. Kokenmeister. Kaufman Sedano to her left. Has Chang back inside. Fires toward goal. Headed up by Anderson. And the flag gone up against Kokenmeister.
Well, you definitely see the intensity picking up as we have 18 minutes left in this half. Swarthmore eager to get that equalizer and then maybe a goal to win the game. But right now, the first order of business is get the equalizer. Kaufman Sedano's doing a nice job up top in terms of just really competing for the ball and trying to get flick-ons.
Mounts gone for goal there and missed high, but only just.
That was a really nice shot, and that's what you want to see. At this point in the contest, you just have to get some balls on net and make the goalkeeper for the Fords make a save. And she's had a fairly easy afternoon so far.
Onyango Opio's clearance blocked by Delario.
Well, and that was an instance in which she would have been better to head that ball and go forward. She let it drop and brought the defender or the attacking player into play as a result.
Stein intercepts. Pulls it through a pair of defenders. Finds Kim. Now into space for Page. Forwards have numbers. Page into the area. Onyango Opio, another perfect tackle. Well, from a defensive perspective, really, this is a story of Onyango Opio at one end and Anderson at the other, and no one's been able to get free for anything apart from that first run for McMillan 5 minutes in, Jim.
That's exactly right. And that was an instance in which, the one player you don't want to see at the, with the ball at her feet at speed is Page, and Onyango Opio just stuffed her. That's exactly what she needed to do. Beautiful job.
Anna Chiron in for Eloise Franz here. And it'll be curious to see if that is the cause for the Garnet to start going three at the back, as it looks like they might be. Haskell cutting inside toward Kim, knocked away by Mangini.
Tactically, that always raises a question. People say, well, why throw another player up top? Well, the difference is, whether you lose 1-0 or 2-0, doesn't matter. But if you can get the equalizer and possibly then a game winner, that makes all the difference. And so it makes it very, very tough if you're not hosting a game or possibly getting a bye.
Kokenmeister brings that down for Chang. Anderson has been perfect all day, Jim. She has not put a foot wrong, and another massive stop.
Yeah, no, she has just played an amazing match. As you pointed out, Onyango Opio and Anderson are the two players of the match. And without Anderson, I think the scoreline would be substantially different.
Karen Mays in just now for Swarthmore, who are running short on time. Kokenmeister pulled a goal back just like that. Gets on the end of a long looping throw in inside the penalty area, and it's 2-1. Game on at Clothier Field.
There we go. Well, as you know, soccer's a strange game, and Swarthmore not missing a beat. They go pick the ball out of the net and go, all right, let's go. Kokenmeister being where she needed to be, and just, it's the first real shot they've had on goal, and they stuck it home. So if they can get some more shots, this game is far from over with 13 minutes left in the match.
It's an 8th goal of the year for Kim Kokenmeister, and it comes at a critical moment. The importance of the quick response as well, Jim, to not let time keep dwindling away.
Well, and once again, that old saw about most goals are scored within 5 minutes of each other and 5 minutes of the end of each half holds true yet again.
Ball here to Mangini. Looking through for Kokenmeister. Anderson. Kokenmeister trying to pull it past the defender. Anderson turns to the outside, and there's a bit of a trip in there from Kaufman Sedano.
Well, this has really become an exciting match this afternoon. There were times where it was sort of a little sleepy, and now suddenly in the last 6 or 7 minutes, we've had 2 goals, and the intensity of an already tense rivalry game goes up.
Civis gets it up to Kim. Haskell fights her way past Mangini. She's pulled down there. That'll be a yellow for Mangini. And she's not going to protest too hard. Knew she was beaten and just grabbed a handful of Haskell and brought her down. Bowen restarts play.
Nice ball.
Long ball here for Kokenmeister.
Yeah, we're not getting that follow-up by the midfield there to collect those balls which are played forward.
Chiron putting the pressure on Stein. Quickly in for Kaufman-Sedano. Too quickly, in fact.
Yeah.
Chance goes begging.
Emmy Hansard doing a nice job of trying to win that ball and advance it up the pitch, but the throw-in was a little bit tough for Kaufman-Sedano to control.
Baker up toward Prince. Mounts trying to fight off Klink, the goal scorer. That was the first of the season for the sophomore, by the way, and as it looms very large indeed right now. Stands as the game winner should this scoreline hold. Klink trying to go back inside. Page came through the defender from behind. She's gone over in the penalty area. Back to her feet. Prince's cross. Gone out for a goal kick. Here come McMillan and Angie Giralis in for the first time today for Haverford. .80 minutes gone, 10 to go. Civis collects the ball at the edge of her penalty area.
Yeah, so that was an example of Mounts not even looking to her left. She had a player wide open, and that's a very tough first ball. I mean, you understand the desire to get the ball into the offensive third, but sometimes, use your teammate on the flank.
Chang can't link up with Kaufman-Sedano. That ball out for a Swarthmore throw-in. Kaufman-Sedano trying to spring Chang down this left alley. Now going herself. That came off a defender, going to the byline. Given as a goal kick.
Well, you could see that the center ref was looking at the AR, but in that case, based on where the center ref is, that's his call to make because it's too far away for the far side linesman to actually see.
Kaufman-Sedano. Zitelli looking for Kokenmeister over the top. Civis off her line. Collision between the two. And Kokenmeister was pushed into Civis there, who has stayed down. Kokenmeister was pressing hard for that ball. Anderson got right on her back shoulder and pushed the Swarthmore forward right into the Haverford keeper.
Right, nothing.
And Kokenmeister going to see yellow. Well, wrong place, wrong time for Kim Kokenmeister. Nothing in that challenge on her side.
I agree with you. I don't think that was her fault. And there was nothing, nasty about the collision. They were both going for the ball. It is an interesting change and evolution of soccer where back when I played, that people were pulling my shorts and punching me in the ribs, and we didn't get calls. And pretty much now, you run into the goalkeeper, it's going to be on you no matter what. So I don't have a problem with the call, but the card might have been excessive in my opinion.
Both teams going to talk it over. We see the Haverford reserve keeper. And I cannot tell if that's Teresa Haupt or Lily Beyer warming up down on the touchline. We'll find out if Civis has to come out of this game. Hasn't had too much to do today, Civis. Most of the stuff that's come her way has been right to her, but she showed excellent command of her penalty area.
Yeah, well, clearly, I mean, she's spent most of the year in the goal for the forwards, but quite obviously they're concerned, and rightfully so. The training staff from Swarthmore is out helping to have her evaluate whether she can continue.
And Garnett going to take a chance to get a drink of water. Well, Civis on her feet. Now, despite training staff having to come out to check on her, allowed to stay for two reasons. One, the foul that injured her resulted in a caution. And two, she's a goalkeeper. She's allowed to stay under both interpretations of the law, Jim.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And it looks like she is going to stay into the match. So good to see. You don't ever want anybody to get hurt.
Well, 82nd minute, Kim Kokenmeister has a yellow card to go along with her goal now. Civis has a free kick to restart us, and Haverford has a one-goal lead. Back underway from Civis. Poked away from Kim. Chang. Zitelli. Flying challenge over there gets the ball away. Kokenmeister. Advantage played by the referee. McMillan gets on the end of it. Pardon me, this is Prince. McMillan making the underlapping run. Heavy touch toward the goal line and over for a goal kick.
Well, Swarthmore is going to have to be mindful of using time as productively as possible because they still need to get that equalizer. I wouldn't be surprised to see plenty of substitutions going on for the forwards in the effort to try to eat up some clock.
Remember, they can only do that for the next 2 minutes. Inside of 5 minutes, the leading team makes a substitution. The clock stops unless both teams are already subbing. Here's Prince. Knocked away by Hansard.
And you may begin to see what we call match management with the ball. The forwards might be trying to get the ball into the corner to just, eat up clock and keep the ball, 110 yards away from their own net.
Mounts. Over for Machado Ako. Kaufman Sedano. Anderson pokes it away. Thrown in, brought towards Civis. Crossfield clearance, works out. It finds Celia Page. And she switches it right back. Too much for McMillan.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Celia Page's field vision and passing. She really sees where the vulnerabilities are and exploits them.
Well, we have a score update. It's a final one from McDaniel Ursinus. Final score, McDaniel 0, Ursinus 1. A surprise there from the bottom end of the table. And it means that should this scoreline hold, it'll now be Dickinson that provides the primary threat. They play tonight at 7 o'clock as well against Washington College. And if they win that match, they will jump Swarthmore on points. So both these teams right now, if this scoreline holds, will be keenly watching one of the other Centennial Conference matches this evening. Prince looking for the corner flag. Run off the ball by Hansard. Machado Acco. Looking in for Mounts. Chang coming to try to collect it. Bowen cuts it out. "85 minutes played." Swarthmore, who at times looked half asleep in the second half, have been galvanized by that goal from Kokenmeister. Now they find Chang. Into space. Here is Kokenmeister. Now, chose to send the cross early. Sends it out.
Yeah, that's anatomically, that's virtually impossible to do when your hips are facing the end line. So, as desperate as they feel, it's important you've got the ball in that offensive third. Draw it back. Use some help from behind. Get the ball across.
Mangini. And the Garnet still pressing here. Zitelli trying up the middle. Kokenmeister. Ball comes behind Chang.
Nice job by Chang to get that ball off the Ford defender.
Here's Karen Mays. Long throw toward Kokenmeister. Anderson. Kokenmeister can't get the shot off. Knocked clear by Kim. Haverford not quite playing full bunker ball just yet, but we're getting to that stage. It would be a huge win for Haverford over their rivals to keep the spark of their playoff hopes alive. Greer picks out Kokenmeister quickly up the field. Kaufman Sedano tackled away from her. Chang brings that ball down edge of the area. Crunching challenge from Chang. It's a penalty. The referee has pointed to the spot. Anderson came straight through Abby Chang there at the edge of the penalty area after she got the shot away. So Chang has paid a high physical price, but the Garnet have a chance to equalize.
Well, this has really been an interesting last 20 minutes of this match, where it kind of looks sleepy and Haverford goes up 2-0. Swarthmore within a couple of minutes strikes back. We've had end-to-end action, and now it looks like we've got an opportunity for Swarthmore to even the match with 2 minutes left, and that will have impact on the playoff situation for Swarthmore.
Rebecca Putnam coming on for Abby Chang. And Kim Kokenmeister, 12 yards away from tying this match up. Civis on her line. Kokenmeister ready. Civis ready. Referee ready. Kokenmeister down the middle. Stop called by Civis.
Well, she guessed right, but what a great save. I mean, she didn't even give up a rebound. A spectacular save by the Ford keeper to maintain a 2-1 advantage here with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in the match.
Here's Juralis to Prince. They're looking to work the corner flag. Double team comes in, pulls the ball away. Awkward throw, but technically legal. Here's Klink. Looking back into the corner. Greer. Jim just kind of eyeballing the body language of Swarthmore. It's not a team that seems wired to quit, but that stopped penalty seems to have really been deflating.
Well, it's very tough because you're thinking, okay, we're back in it. We're going to tie it. It's going to be fine. Kokenmeister did hit it right foot to the left side, which curls toward the goalkeeper. Obviously it's 20/20 hindsight is what it is, but it's better if you're going to hit it with the inside of your right foot to hit it to the left post of the keeper, or to the keeper's left, because it curls away from them.
Kim pulls that past Mangini. Kim off here for Prince. The 90th minute, and it's gone into touch for a Haverford throw-in. No rush to take it, and it looks like the Fords are poised to pull off a huge upset. Back into touch. 30 seconds now. Well, Jim, credit the Haverford Fords. They came in, they started fast. They got a goal when they needed it. They scored a great one from Sarah Klink from what feels like 40 yards out, although I'm sure I'm tacking a couple extra ones on there. And then that huge, huge stop from Claire Civis all the way over at the right post to deny Kim Kokenmeister her brace. And it's enough for Haverford. They run down to celebrate with their keeper, and they pick up 3 points to keep their playoff hopes alive here on the final day of the regular season.
Well, this is what makes college soccer so great and what makes rivalry games so great. Coming into the match, you would think, oh, well, this is a not a shoo-in, but a pretty strong potential victory for Swarthmore. And they come out, they get the early goal, they get a second goal, and then that absolute clutch penalty kick save near the end of the match. I mean, what a great afternoon of soccer here at Swarthmore's Clothier Field.
Well, your final score, Haverford Fords 2, Swarthmore Garnet 1, and that means both matches later tonight will be of massive importance. Muhlenberg against Gettysburg. Again, Haverford need Gettysburg to lose that contest in order to wind up in the sixth and final spot, and Washington College taking on Dickinson, who own the head-to-head tiebreaker and now have a chance to vault their way clear of Swarthmore on points. Still a chance for the Garnet to wind up in the overall number 2 seed, but head coach Todd Ankaitis will feel a little bit chagrined that his team wasn't able to get the job done here at home today.
Yeah, you don't want to depend on other people's results to get you there. It's not that if they do earn it, they don't feel like they deserve it, but still, obviously it's important to try to win these games. This was a winnable match, and the Fords basically beat them, and that's the way it goes.
Well, what a match for a neutral tuning in, and what a match for both these teams. Once again, your final score, Fords 2, Garnet 1. That's going to do it. Jim and I will be back at 7 p.m. Eastern for the men's match against Haverford. But until then, for Jim Harvey, I'm Andrew Harvey saying so long, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.
The beautiful thing about sports is that most often there is always one more game, one more chance to maybe redeem yourself from a past mistake. Well, even though today is the last day of the regular season, there is one more chance to correct the mistake. And it's not just about players. It's about the broadcasters, too. And I will start by admitting a big one. In the loss to Bryn Mawr the last time out just a couple days ago, I mentioned that Swarthmore pretty much was done. They were not eligible for the postseason. Well, like Fred Hayes, the astronaut from Apollo 13 who figured out the wrong carbon dioxide numbers because he figured 2 people instead of 3, I figured out the wrong playoff format because I figured out 5 teams instead of 6. 5 teams have already secured their spot into the postseason in the Centennial Conference. Johns Hopkins, 10-0. Franklin and Marshall, 9-1. Bryn Mawr, 7-3. Ursinus and Washington College playing today at 5-4. They're in. That's only 5. We need one more. Swarthmore has a chance today. One chance. But so does their opponent, Haverford. They both come in today at 4-5. No one can catch the winner. No one can catch the loser. But the winner will move on and be part of the 6 that will challenge for a Centennial Conference championship. On a beautiful day in southeastern Pennsylvania from Clothier Field on the campus of Swarthmore University. Daryl Dobus with you here live as the Garnet at 9-7, 4-5 in the Centennial Conference, and on a 2-game slide right now. Takes on another team on a 2-game slide, the 7-9, also 4-5 in conference forwards of Haverford. And what better day to post yourself a spot in the postseason than on Senior Day? Well, Haverford already had theirs. Today it's Swarthmore's Senior Day today, as we will turn over a PA announcer for the announcement and recognition of the seniors.
And a grader. She was on the Student Athlete Advisory Committee all 4 years, as a member of the club ice hockey team, and as a member of the Garnet Go Green Club. As co-captain, Fiona has played in 32 career games with 14 starts. In 2021, Fiona was named to the Centennial Honor Roll. Outside of SWAT, she is a recognition and engagement specialist for the American Red Cross. After graduation, she is pursuing a job in biopharmaceutical development. Our next senior is number 13, Callie Cho. Callie is a neuroscience major and English minor. She has worked in the Ball Lab for 2 years studying neuroendocrinology in frogs and plans to complete her thesis on waterborne hormone sampling validations based on her research in this lab. This research will hopefully accumulate into a publication when complete. In addition to her role as a co-captain of the field hockey team, she is president of the Beekeeping Club, an arts writer for the Phoenix, and a TA for animal behavior. Callie has 2 career goals and 3 assists in 36 starts for the Garnet. In 2020, Callie was named to the NFHCA Division III National Academic Squad and the Centennial Honor Roll in 2021. After graduation, Callie plans to pursue research in the Cook Islands on local whale populations and pursue further education in the field of conservation biology. Our next senior is number 10, Martina Campbell. Martina is a double major in computer science and applied math. Throughout her time at SWAT, she has worked for Information Technology Services and as a TA for different computer science classes. Last spring, she studied abroad at a computer science school in Budapest. She is treasurer of the Women in Computer Science Club and president of the Barbell Club. Later this academic year, she plans to compete in the International Collegiate Programming Contest, regionals, and qualifying for USA Weightlifting University Nationals. On the field, Martina has 14 goals and 11 assists in 48 career starts. She was selected an All-Conference Honorable Mention, Academic All-Centennial, Centennial Honor Roll, and NFHCA Division III National Academic Squad. Last year, Martina was awarded Centennial Women's Field Hockey Scholar Athlete of the Year. Upon graduation, she will work as a software engineer for Duolingo. Our final senior is number 23, Quinn Basewitz. Quinn is a double major in computer science and mathematics, with an emphasis in statistics. She is also working towards a secondary teaching certification and will be student teaching next fall. In addition to field hockey, Quinn is on the Swarthmore track and field team, was a 2-year co-president of Kuhiluat, the Swarthmore Jewish community, and does research in the Educational Studies Department studying the integration of computer science and mathematics in middle school classrooms. Quinn was named to the NFHCA Division III National Academic Squad in 2020 and was named to the Centennial Honor Roll in 2021. Quinn has 5 goals and 3 assists in 52 career games for the Garnet. Please give one more round of applause to our senior class.
So there you have the announcement of the 6 seniors. One you may not have caught right at the beginning, Grace Twitchell, senior from Glen Ridge, New Jersey. Where's number 12 for the Garnet? Fiona Heaps, Martina Campbell, Grace Twitchell, Captain Callie Cho, Quinn Basewitz. Actually, that's 5 that are graduating here from Swarthmore University. And as you can hear from their ambitions, probably going on to bigger and better things. A slight delay, although it has not affected the pre-game festivities. As one of our officials running a little behind, and unfortunately in today's climate, that's not unusual. We've had a couple games where they weren't late, but the officials that worked a Swarthmore game in the later afternoon or evening were coming from another local game somewhere around noon or 1 o'clock. So these ladies and some gentlemen have been really putting forth extra effort here. It's just a dearth of officials. It's not just field hockey. It is up and down the collegiate levels, the high school levels, even the lower levels when you get into middle school and club ball. And it doesn't matter, football, basketball, field hockey, volleyball's hurting. Soccer really is hurting, especially in the high school levels. And, hey, think you know what you're doing? You think you can yell at the refs and you know better than they do? Why don't you give it a shot? And you can start. NCAA.com if you want to take a jump right to the collegiate level. Recommendation, though, go to the high school level. And for those of you listening in the state of Pennsylvania, PIAA.org is where you want to go, and you can follow how to be an official. And they're looking for them all across the state. And I'm sure if you look up your state's association for high school sports, whether it's in New York, SIAA, New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association, NJSAIA, you look up there. Everyone has a high school administration for high school athletics. Get it on the ground level. It's not easy. It's a lot of fun. The money can be real good, too. But, hey, don't be afraid to put your toe in the water there. And I do it. I do 3 different sports. I'm going to pick up a 4th eventually here. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. Done it for 30 years at the high school level. Field hockey, this was my 22nd working in the state of Pennsylvania. 30 coming up for basketball. And I believe it's 25 coming up for baseball now in the state. Hopefully can do a little more. Maybe you can get a little volleyball in there as well. But don't be afraid to give it a shot if you have the time, the energy, and the guts to go ahead and be an official. It's not just the last game for Swarthmore. It is the last game, at least regular season, for the Fords of Haverford under head coach Jackie Cox. They have 7 seniors on the roster. They've already gone through